So, Joy, first of all, thank you so much for being here, and let's dive to the topic of today. So, as we
Mhm.
said in the previous episode, today we're talking about dependency, and I would like to ask you why for you is such important topic. Touch the dependency, especially related to partnership.
Yes. It's great to be in the show again, Arianna. So thank you for the opportunity. And yes, dependency is another big topic for me. Dependency for me it has caused me to relate to unhealthy behaviors throughout life. My dependency was around alcohol and drugs and women, for that matter. Also work as well. I used to busy myself in work, be dependent on these outside factors outside of myself in order to feel complete in some way, more of a distraction. So using dependency to distract myself from truly feeling the uncomfortable feelings or thoughts within myself. And
Mm.
so they were all numbing. So dependency led to also a numbing factor too. And I just happened to go from one to the next. So sometimes I mix them all three of them, the alcohol,
Yeah,
drugs, and women into
I
one
know.
sort of experience.
Yeah.
And then also working as well, being an overachiever. There's a
Mm.
difference between overachiever and high performer. Overachievers typically do it from a place of scarcity. They do it from a place of lack, from not feeling complete or worthy within themselves. So then they overachieve. They're trying to get more accomplishments, more accolades, more awards, more promotions, which is what I've done for all the companies I've worked at. We'll talk about the last big company, Apple. I'm always trying to outdo the next person in the sales department in one of the retail stores I worked in Southern California in Brea. So just outperform, get the high fives from the managers, get the promotions. And I actually got promoted very fast through the ranks in a limited amount of time that I was there compared to other people who were there for much longer than me, sometimes double the amount of years and still weren't able to get those promotions. I was overachieving to just prove myself to the management that I am worthy. And then by getting these promotions, my family was really happy for me. High
Yeah.
performance, the other side of the spectrum, they do it out of a place of they feel complete, they feel worthy, and they're going after these promotions because it's something that they connect with. It connects with their values. It comes from a
Yeah.
different place within themselves. They're not trying to quiet some inner voice within themselves like overachievers do. So
Okay.
that's how it relates to me when it comes to work as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're talking about this dependence, so you have so talking about you, your story, because it's so rich field for understanding better this topic. Why we are talking about dependency in this episode, talking about a healthy connection in partnership, is
Mhm.
because I think it's interesting. It's because it can play a role in which dependency is not love. And dependency, talking about affection, is something that can be pathological and
Mhm.
can create an illusion of love. But there is a sort of so I just want to explore that. It's important, I think. There is a sort of natural dependency when you have a kind of partner. It's good to feel, I don't want to say dependent, but influenced by the person you stay with. And it's completely natural. It's also nice to say, oh, I'm completely independent from you. Is not true, because when you create a relationship with a person and there is a commitment, of course there is some kind of I can say sacrifice, but you choose consciously to not
Mhm.
do the same things of before somehow, because you need the space to do something new with your partner. So there is a kind of influence, very very important in your life when you
Mhm.
share the relationship. But now we're not talking about this constructive and good connection that is to be a little bit dependent on the other person in order to grow together and
Mhm.
expand the self in the relationship. But we are
Mhm.
talking about other type of like addiction. So see the other person like a drug, like an addiction. So I'm addicted to you, but I'm not loving you. So this is completely different. And I know you have an experience in your life also of these addictions, and it would be nice if you feel to open up to just give a little bit of explication, if you want, about how was your story with this this type of addiction, and the addiction to be addicted to another person. If there is some parallelism, and if a person who have the tendency to create addiction, can be social media, can be pornography, can be alcohol, can be drugs, can be, as you said now, become a work alcoholic, but and to be addicted to a person and create this dependency relationship, and also can be also addicted to create drama, addicted to create a certain kind of emotional challenge that is toxic, because causes a sense of feeling alive. So
Mhm.
just I think this can be a good starting point. So I give you
Yeah.
the it's actually
Yes.
the ball. I can play ping pong.
Yeah,
Boom.
bing, bing, bing,
Yeah,
bing, bing. It's my turn.
Because it's a Pablo with the Italian. Just give me this ball. That's it.
I'll hold on to it for now.
A big ball.
Yeah, so when it comes to dependency, so yeah, porn has also been a challenge in my life as well. So funny that you mentioned that. And for me, is this looking for excitement in my life, looking for, and that happens a lot when you become dependent on other people. You're looking for constant change, constant excitement, constant adventure. And all of this can be healthy adventure and excitement. But now when you're using it in a way because it's allowing you to feel more comfortable with the other person in the sense of, oh wow, I feel like this person is loving me now. I feel worthy now. This void within me is being met by this other person or this experience, this adventure, this excitement. And then that's when it becomes very unhealthy. And unhealthy dependency can actually, at least in my case, lead to healthy dependency or that pure connection. And
Wow.
we're in a partnership.
Wow, is the dream is like a Walt Disney movie. How is this? Try to be the Walt Disney thing. So it's impossible. Let's see how it's possible to go from this side to the other side.
Yeah, and it's very beautiful when you see that unfold and this unhealthy dependency transform and evolve into something very beautiful. My dependency, now we're going to focus on intimate relationships here. The last one that I had before my current one was back in Valencia. So I met this woman at the end of my 1 year teaching contract, teaching English to children in Madrid. Met a woman there. She lives in Valencia, and we only had known each other for a few days. We had went on a little holiday for a couple of weeks together, and then we talked about me moving in with her. At that point, I didn't have technically a home because I was in transition. I left my room that I was renting in a co-living facility in Madrid, and I thought I was going to go back to the States, maybe, or even renew my teaching contract for a second year in the south of Spain. I said no to going back to the States and no to the renewal for my teaching contract to move in with her in Valencia. And that's what I did.
Oh.
I moved in with her. At this point, we had known each other for maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And about exactly 7 days later, she changed her mind and she demanded that I move out. And so I
Mm.
was like, what do I do now? Right? I
Yeah.
was dependent on her. And this is what I've noticed about myself in the past is that when it's like this caregiving energy from a woman, and if
Mm-hmm.
she's asking me, "Oh yeah, move in with me. I'll take care of you, and you're not from this country, and we'll figure out your papers." So it's like this caregiving feeling, and that's what I've been attracted to very much in the past when I've been in this anxious attachment style, is that I become dependent on this caregiving, this motherly energy from the woman. And at
Yeah.
the time, I wasn't conscious of it, obviously, but then I was attracted to this. So then I became dependent on moving in with her. And then when that didn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do now? I had
Yeah.
to go to a hotel. I went to a hotel down the street for another week until I booked a one-way ticket to the Canary Islands for what was meant to be a healing journey for a couple of weeks. And now it's been over 3.5 years now that I've lived here. So that, and then the dependency, if we're going to talk about it in my current relationship, it was very similar,
Yeah.
actually. We were living in two different places when we first met. And
Yeah.
then I was visiting my current partner many, many times, and it didn't make sense for us to have two different places with the driving back and forth. So then I let go of the apartment that I was renting to move in together. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I moved in together, then I lost back then I was doing digital marketing and I lost the one big client that I had. So now I was financially in a place where I wasn't feeling so secure.
Yeah.
So she was helping out with the rent more so than I was at the time. So again, that caregiving energy was there. She was taking care of me, taking care of
Yeah.
most of the bills. I was paying what I could, but she took care of the majority in the beginning. But then
Yeah.
over time, I recognized that this is a very unhealthy dynamic. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
led into the hypnotherapy and led into me becoming more aware and making a choice. Do I continue living the way that I've been doing with my current partner? Or do
Yeah.
I reach out into the uncomfortable spaces of the universe and find out why am I doing this and make a conscious decision to do better for myself and
Yeah.
find out what those resources are going to look like to support me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so super incredible. So I love when I listen to you. For me, it's always like it's very nurturing
Mhm.
because I love to see the story of your transformation. And I think your story of transformation will inspire so many people, and even the
Mhm.
person is now you are probably looking this episode, you can see how Joy is really open to share, but also I really love your open heart to share your vulnerability and the step that you did. And this is create a hope and maybe an inspiration to act for the person who listened to this episode that everything is possible. Not everything, but I mean, almost a lot of things are possible when we have the will to change. So that's your story. It's a story of it's a kind of hero journey. You decide to
Mhm.
step out from what was limiting you, and you was really taking responsibility. That's my word. I feel that you take responsibility. So when we talk about dependency, probably is again, as we say in the other episode, is a pattern that we have. There is something the person who is dependent is trying to cover that doesn't feel capable to give to him or herself.
Mhm.
So the thing is, so the question is, where, which place burn this sensation that you are not able to provide yourself of the resources, or and you are looking for someone else, and you become dependent. In your opinion,
So where within my body was I feeling this?
I mean, now what is the thing? What causes this in a person for you? Where is created the dependency attitude and mood?
Mm.
It burns for you.
What created it is I'm always going to go back to how things were when I was being raised. And obviously, as a child, all children are dependent on their parents to take care of them and create a safe space for them. So
Yeah.
it's always this, and then with my parents being emotionally unavailable a lot of the time, or when my mom was emotionally unavailable, it
Yeah.
was a lot of the time she was under the influence. And
Yeah.
I had to learn to be still dependent to get food and get their, clothes and get the necessities, and they took care of that. So I never had to go a day without food on the table, and I'm very grateful for them for providing for me in that way. Absolutely. But then the dependency came to, okay, how do I take care of these needs within myself?
Yeah.
These anxious and sadness and fear and all these hard emotions to experience as a child.
Yeah.
How do I take care of them? Because no one showed me how to take care of them, for myself. So I need to find some other places to take care of them. And even when I was a teenager, when I was 18, I became a caregiver for the mentally ill and physically disabled population. And I was a caregiver for 7 years, working in group homes and hospice. And I
Hmm.
was doing that because I was dependent on my clients to feel good about myself or to feel like I am taking care of them. I'm being this caregiver and I'm doing good for them. Right? It's like I had to take
Hmm.
care of my mom as well. And even
Hmm.
my parents, there's things that I've had to do well, I didn't have to. I made a choice as an adult to take care of them in separate ways.
Yeah.
They split, they divorced when I was about 8 years young. even as an adult, they've put themselves through, or they've been through experiences where I stepped in to be that caregiver for them and take care of them.
Yeah.
Back then, it was more for like a toxic reasons I was doing it. But now I'm, when I'm caretaking or doing something to take care of somebody else, I'm making sure that I'm feeling complete within myself first. So like with my partner, am I wanting to take care of her? She's not feeling well. She's feeling sick. Do I want to take care of her? Because if I do that, it's going to make me feel like I'm worthy and I'm like, I feel like $1 million afterwards. Or am I going to do it because I already feel complete inside? And I know that by taking care of her when she's sick and give her some, medication, go out and get groceries, and if she's unable to, I'm doing this because it's a mutual partnership, and I'm doing it because it's if not only does it feel good, but my cup is already filled up, and I'm trying to do my best to fill her cup up as well. If she's under the weather, just like she would do for me. It's helping
Yeah.
each other out, and that's what creates that partnership. Hand in hand, we're going to go through this together and figure it out together, no matter
Yeah.
what, even if it's scary. And trust me, it gets very scary when you explore this dependency within yourselves.
Really, what is caring for you?
Scary is the unknown. It's like, whoa, we're like exploring this dependency and exploring this dynamic within our relationship. And I don't know what this is. I have never been with a woman in a relationship nor a partnership for 3.5 years. The longest relationship I was in was 1 year, and that was what 15 years ago. And that was a very toxic relationship. I was like 25 at the time. So this is the first time that I'm going into something, and this is unknown territory. I do not have my mind, my psyche, my ego does not have these prior experiences to go back on and be like, okay, you've been through this. This is what you need to do, and this is what you not need to do. There is nothing there. So the ego is like, what are you doing, Joey? This is not natural. You should not be with anybody longer than a few months. You need to get out of it and go look for a new partner as soon as possible. So it's just
Mm.
this dialogue between these selves these versions of ourselves that we create. We create this through programming and then our belief systems. And there's a Sanskrit term called samskar. Samskar is that these past experiences, these inner wounds that we have, that sometimes dictate how we live our future, our present and our future. And so
Mhm.
these get held in the heart space. So if we can identify these samskaras within our heart space, then we can know where all these dependencies are coming from and where the fear is and what, if it's scary, okay, let's lean into that. Right? Growth
Yeah.
happens at the end of our comfort zone. And I have a
Yeah.
lot of friends who want to remain comfortable within their relationships because it's what they know, and to do something different. Even single friends of mine, even when it's different, they don't want to do it. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, I like the way things are right now. This is good. But that's not
Yeah.
their soul or their Shakti speaking. That's the ego trying to protect them because this is what it did when they were children. When I was a child, it was trying to protect me in an environment that was very hostile and scary and stressful. But I'm not a kid anymore. And they
Mhm.
say like a lot of the way we react emotionally in this day and age
Mhm.
as adults, if you want to say, we can generalize here that a lot of times it's an 8-year-old version of us. If this is for those who are not emotionally intelligent or have done this growth,
Mhm.
and this is how I used to be, is I react. I used to react based on this 8-year-old version within me, right?
Mhm.
If my partner did something I didn't like, I would give it a silent treatment. I wouldn't talk to her, distance myself. What do you do when you're 8 years young? If your parents didn't give you what you want, you threw a tantrum or you walked away, you ignored them. So we have these tendencies from when we're children, and we just go into this inner child emotional state, and this is how we act out. But now
Yeah.
we can connect with that, we can transcend that.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah, absolutely. So important to have this attitude. And talking about the dependency, like the term of addiction, because I think also we for thinking about partnership and some kind of challenges that probably partners can have today nowadays is the addictions, addiction to distraction, addiction to social media, and how, for example, um, and how this play a role that can really create some distance. in the
Mhm.
creation of intimacy. The last episode we talked about create intimacy in connection. Is the connection is important and presence. So now we have this incredible bombarding of the social media messages and all these applications, and that's create addiction. Is also demonstrate that scientifically at the neuro level there is a certain substance that is created like dopamine when we receive a message, when we have received a like, and this
Mhm.
create an addiction or even to our phone. And
Mhm.
time becomes like we give this attention and they start to compete somehow to really also create a more conscious relationship with our partner. And so the question for me and for you is what causes or why we have this the tendency to create addiction? What is the addiction is giving response to for
Mhm.
you?
For me, the addiction is to escape, is to numb myself. Not only did I do it with alcohol and drugs, but like in my current partnership, I used to just numb myself by watching TV, for example, or just doing busy work and not giving true attention to my partner. Now, there's a balance with everything, right? There's a balance when it comes to putting time and attention into my projects, time and attention to friends, and time and attention to my partner. So it's also
Mhm.
creating this healthy boundaries around all this, which we'll talk about, eventually in one of us in our episodes. So then this healthy dependent, transforming this healthy into healthy dependency within that partner to create a more loving relationship between the two.
Mm.
The mobile phones is a huge distraction. Not
Mm.
right, not in my current partnership, but I read this amazing book by Mel Robbins. It's called The 5 Second Rule. This was recommended to me when I went into talk therapy in 2018, and it talks about boundaries around your mobile phone, putting
Mm.
everything on silent mode, like turning off notifications, and do not leave the phone in the bedroom that you sleep in. Like put the phone in the kitchen to charge, and then if you have an alarm and you use your phone for it, then that requires you in the morning to jump out of your bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the concept of 5 second rule. You do something within 5 seconds, and you have to jump out of bed, go to the kitchen, turn off the phone. Right now, how
Yeah.
my mobile phone is set up, and I'm very thankful that my partner, she's not into her phone a lot. Like she's never been that way. I've been with partners in the past where they're glued to the phone. So I'm very grateful that I'm with somebody who values in-person connection and real connection over the mobile phone. But my personal phone, I have all notifications turned off. Calls are silenced. Like literally, the only way to get through to me is with a scheduled call in advance. And then also, but I make exceptions here. My partner and my mom and my dad are on the this favorites list on my iPhone, so they bypass this, and then they can get to them. They can get through to me. That's in case there's an emergency or so forth, So they know how to get to me. But yeah, everything else is turned off. And as a matter of fact, I've actually recently just deleted all my social media apps off my phone because I want to
Out
start
of
using
your
my
phone.
phone. Yes, I
Okay.
want to start using my phone as a more of a personal device. For me, it just makes it more. It's easier to separate personal from professional. So I use my computer for Instagram, for LinkedIn, because there's web versions of it, and I have my tablet. And my tablet, I use it to do maybe some postings because there's things you can do on the web version that you can do on the tablet or phone. But I decided to use the tablet just for creating videos and posting them, stories and so forth. And my mobile phone, I am transforming this into a tool that's just for personal use only. There was no sense in me having social media on my phone when I'm talking about boundaries. I'm creating dedicated time to go on social media during the week. This is mindful, intentional time to use social media. For me, it's just for professional reasons. So why would I be with my partner on a temple night or a date night and have notifications coming up from Instagram when I'm like, no, like this is my time with my partner or with my friends for that reason as well. I'm having mindful time in front of my laptop and I check messages once or twice a day, and that's it. Post a few times a week, and that's it. Very simple. It's this clear distinction. It's not like this. We've been programmed. There's a great Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma.
Oh yeah, yeah, I will see that. Oh my
The
gosh.
social media
Uh,
platforms, they're
That's the
built
time I
to
suck
get
the
you like tuned into them, like to be on them as long as possible. They're designed to keep
Ah,
you plugged
yeah,
in to
yeah,
them for as long as they can possibly have you plugged into them. This is how they work. And
yeah,
after, having this knowledge is key, all right? And then an
yeah,
awareness is the next key after that. So yeah, the time with my partner is very mindful, and the mobile phones is, it's just something that's there, but I'm not tethered to it like I used to be.
yeah,
I've cut
yeah,
that tether, that imaginary tether, because for me, real person connections are super important. Online as well is great, right? Because we wouldn't be able to record this podcast if it wasn't for technology, and then other people wouldn't be able to listen to us if it wasn't for technology. So technology has its place, but that's it. It has a place, not a place within me. It's just this outer place, external to me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So such important thing that you say, I want to underline for the person who's listening. Just is it interesting this idea that you take off the application from your phone, use just like for the personal use, and yeah, and you set a specific moment of the day probably when you can open up this and to really connect to yourself. And yeah, it's a super good idea for the person who listen to that, even social media. And what do you think about this Apple clock that you have the notification just here? Do you think it's very distracting? Is something that is can be very abusive for our? You don't have
No
it.
watch, no watch. I have a watch I wear, but it's over there. It's a Casio watch. It's a battery
Yeah,
operated, and it's one of those simple ones from the 90s.
yeah,
So that's an interesting question when it comes to Apple watches or these smart watches in general.
yeah.
I do have a semi-smart watch, but it's like a 20 euro smartwatch thing, and I only use it to for my alarm in the morning. Because I've come to realize that hearing an audible sound, I don't keep my phone in the room, as I mentioned. I used to have a little travel clock that would go off, but it has that beep, 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 and it's super annoying. So I'm like, how nice would it be just to wake up to like a vibration? So I
Yeah.
got this watch for the specific reason of using it as an alarm in the morning. It has haptic in it, so there's no audible to it. And when it goes off, it's this nice gentle vibration on my wrist, and I'm like, ah, what? And I don't disturb my partner because it's on me. So yeah, that's the only reason I bought it. When it comes to but small watches in general, I will say they have their pros and cons, like with anything else. I think they're amazing when it comes to tracking one's health, especially if one's health is in jeopardy.
Mhm.
I've heard of cases who people have had these heart palpitations or their heart rate became irregular. So these smart devices were able to detect an early heart attack from happening, and they were able to get to a hospital before this even occurred. So medically speaking, and if people use it for that reason, if it's for health reasons, awesome, super, super awesome. Now, the cons to it is that it's constantly going off if you have notifications turned on. And for me, that's too much of a distraction. I've never owned a smartwatch like that to get notifications on my wrists. And I've had friends when I'm trying to have conversation with them, they get distracted. Like a notification comes in midway in conversation, they have to look down and either they respond to it or they, swipe it away. But it's like this constant up and down. They're looking to their wrist, to the person. And for me, it's very distracting. It's like, okay, well, like we're not truly present with this conversation both
It's
ways.
blocking the probably the magic of some moments that are created, isn't it? It's this distraction is interference.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
don't. Okay, for doctors, there's certain professionals as well that it's very useful to have notifications coming in because they can't have the mobile phones on them. So maybe they get it to the wrist. There are certain applications where it's definitely useful, but I feel like most applications where people just want to get notifications that aren't like death or aren't threatening, they use it for the wrong reasons.
yeah. Okay, so I thank you so much for this, and I will end this episode about talking about dependency. About it just show this dynamic that can appear in some kind of toxic connection that we can have with a partner, and this is the case when there is this need or create kind of emotion that are dysfunctional, like you reach for these people who causes you emotional pain because there is also certain kind of adrenaline, and then receiving some kind of attention. And there is this dynamic that can create a very, very painful and toxic connection when one of the two just controls somehow the emotional temperature of the connection. So create kind of diminishing, controlling attitude and causes to the other person this not pleasurable sensation, and then give a good reward, like a good caricia si dice, no? What to say? A carrot to the other person, so a nice comment. And so what happened in the psyche is that the person just start to get confused. And what you say about the roller coaster, you start to enter in a kind of in casino, in which you're looking continuously for this nice compensation of love, of affection, and then you receive a lot of things that are not good. And this creates a kind of dependency that's completely unhealthy, when you start to feel that you lose your identity, your light, your self-esteem. So that's, I think, can be the last topic we can dive into, because I think many people can have, not many, I hope not many, but can be a situation people can experiment in a partnership. So I ask you if you have experimented that, and what is your advice in the case? And I will give you also my perspective when you are in this situation.
In a situation of trying to break away from dependency, in other words.
You have to
want to break away from dependency.
Yeah, but it's not only dependency. When you have this kind of connection that creates dependency,
right?
This becomes like an addiction to something unhealthy because you receive a reward. So it's very difficult to recognize.
Yeah.
You go into this, and then it becomes biological, like an addiction to a drug. A drug.
Yeah, like a drug for sure, and they're all like related to some sort of drug that we're inputting into our systems. I mean, when it comes to advice, for me, it was a natural progression, and I read about these things, and it was being curious. So if I were to give any advice, it's just to be curious about your current behaviors, about your patterns, about the way you're acting and behaving, has it affecting the people that you care about? Because for me, it started with not how I was feeling about myself, like how I was treating myself, but how I was treating my partner, and seeing the distraught, the unhappiness there. And yet she still stayed there. Like, she didn't run away. She didn't end the relationship. Although there were times we thought that it was going to happen, but it never did happen. And so I feel like I was inspired from this human being, this loving, amazing human being in my life, to want to start searching deeper within myself. And that curiosity allowed me to go through this natural progression. And I can't say how that's going to look like for every single person out there. But if you're curious, then the answers will come to you. The resources will come to you. And staying open-minded, right? And not taking things personally as well. Again, I've said this before, everybody is doing their best they can. And it starts with boundaries as well, and which we'll talk about eventually. That's going to be very key in order to live in a life with integrity and generosity.
That's probably the point of connection between what we are touching now with this situation and with the next episode. We're talking about the boundaries. Probably this is the answer that is connected to self-love. I want to say my point of view about that is that in my experience, when you fall in this dynamic, because these are a dynamic. First of all, I want to share something that is very interesting, and I think for women or men who go in this toxic situation where they feel there is no exit. When you are in a toxic situation like that, and you feel that you go like in a spiral, you feel there is no alternatives, and then you start to. I think it's interesting to share that, just to give some example and to some new perspective. And when you go into these spirals, your side, your origin start to become very close, and you don't see any other possibility. That's why I think your word curiosity is such an important word, because then when you have a problem like that emotionally, all your energy are drained, even you don't have energy to talk to your friends, and you start even to isolate yourself. That is the worst thing, but I think it's pretty natural when you have this dynamic, because you don't have energy at all. And so you go in this tunnel, you just avoid to contact your family, your beloved, your friends, and it becomes worse and worse until you discover that the most important thing is you in your life, and the self-love. So in my opinion, this is my perspective when how I see life, not only partnership, but is that everything happened to you, it happened for make you grow somehow in some aspect of yourself. So taking probably this situation like an opportunity to grow and to expand even more, because probably you have patterns, and there is no victim. I mean, there is no victim and a guilty person. I mean, there are people who act in a very badly way, but even from the starting conversation we had in the first episode, we see that things are created because we attract certain situation. It's not casually. We're not the victim. That's what I want to say, especially to the women. And I have a lot of girlfriends that talk to me and says, "Oh my gosh, oh, he's such a bastard. He did this and did this." And sometimes even women with themselves, like girlfriends, they don't help each other because they give reason to the girlfriends. It's, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, he's such a shitty guy." But no, honestly, I don't think this is empower the women in the sense doesn't enable the woman or the man, it can be also the opposite, to find the resources and to understand that he or she causes the situation to make it grow. So what I say to my girlfriends normally when they have a challenge, even this situation like an unhealthy partnership, is lovely. What are you wanting to teach you? Because you create the situation. You are co-participating. You are co-creating this game. At the end, this is the game. When we are together with a person, it's a dance. We both are dancing this dance. And if we change the dance, the other person can't do the same. So that's, I think, is a good message. Even talking about dependency, you are creating this dance, and how you create this, you can change it because you are a very active part in the equations. So, and for sure, beyond all the things that happens, there is some kind of teaching, and that's, I think, is the key when you talk with someone else that is a little bit mindful and like you, and have some experience, is really to find out which is the treasure, which is the plum you can transform in gold, like the alchemist done. So, and so the thing is, when you are in the situation probably of dependency, something you have to learn is the boundaries, how to set the boundaries. And we will talk about that, Joy, in the next episode, because now we have this amazing time together. And I appreciate so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your point of view. And it's such a precious conversation, even for myself. You inspire me so much. And I really honor you. And you are watching this, please share in the comments below. What do you think about this? Have you ever experimented dependency or get out of it? And which resources you use it? Which advices you can give? Just inspire each other. Inspire. I like this word, inspire. It's like, I think it's the word. It's such an important word, isn't it? We have in neurographic is the practice I do to transform patterns with the drawings. And there is three levels. This says the first level is satisfaction, the second level is inspiration, the third level is spiritual realization of ourselves. So satisfaction is the first, but inspiration is another level, inspiration. So I love that you use this word, curiosity, inspiration, and use the story you have to inspire to become a better person. It's always, you are always sharing that, and I love it. Joy, I really admire your story. I like what you do, and such a pleasure to talk to you. So yeah, so share your story, and we will put in the comment below also the reference of Joy if you want to find him and what he's doing, the amazing thing he's doing, he's bringing to this world. He's super incredible person, so please go and visit his website and his social media, and even you will find my website, my offering like an artist, and like all the the journey I offer. And we have a special gift for you we create together with Joy. It's a super free guide to really, you will discover. This is a surprise. So just download it. It's for you to honor the time you are investing in yourself. And I want to say, Joe, I don't know what you think, but the more people are doing this, the better world is, and the better relationship we can have with the partners, because evolution is also created by sharing this knowledge, sharing this awareness, and creating this collective awareness. So I think we are doing something incredible, and also incredible are you that you are dedicating your time to this. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for
And,
creating this space for us.
and let's see in the next episode. Ciao.